we're ready to start. So I think we can begin. I don't know if anyone at home has anything they would like to bring up at the start. Otherwise, I have a few text passages to run with. Maybe I'll start with the first one. The first one, Ajahn, we discussed in a Vietnamese discussion. One of the friends was asking about the three kinds of studying the teaching, and I knew that she was referring to the commentary from the snake simile, the Alagada Sutta. So I quoted from it. I quoted about the three kinds of studying. First of all, the studying in the manner of the snake. The second, studying for the sake of crossing over. And third, studying in the treasurer's position. And the commentary explains that the first one, studying in the way of the snake, alagada pariyati, is like studying for in the wrong way. And the second one, the Nitarana Pariyati, studying for the sake of crossing over. The first one is studying for getting robes, other requisites, becoming widely known for fame and gain. In other words, all the wrong purposes. The second one, for crossing over, it's better, but it leads to the development of understanding. For the first one, it said it would be better to just sleep than to study at all. And the third one, studying in the treasurer's position, the Bandha Garika Pariyati, is like the Arahat study. The work has been done, but continues to study, consider, and listen. Now, when I was discussing these three ways of studying, I didn't mention it in the discussion, but I wondered why pariyati is used in all these cases, because of course usually we think of pariyati as the right intellectual understanding about dhammas now that leads to patipatti and then pativeda and so on. But here it seems to be a very different use of pariyati, more like a conventional use of pariyati, just like ways of studying that we might refer to, especially the first one when it's the studying for getting requisites. Could you give some comments?
What about the bhikkhu who study the teachings a lot, Pali term and the details and so on? They can quote whatever is there in Tipitaka and translate it, but no deep understanding. That's why it's just like poison snake, because instead of understanding the very subtle reality, they take it as words and grammar and the way it is explained, but not understand the subtlety of each word. That's why they destroy the teachings, harm oneself and also the others. So dangerous. That's why people who take the Dhamma so very easily just patipati and then practice. So dangerous. That is the level of understanding.
But can we say it's still a level of understanding when it's...
but they can understand the meaning of the word.
The meaning of the words.
And they can say nama and rupa and so on.
But usually it's like a conventional idea of study. It's not, usually when we say pariyati has to be understanding of dhammas as dhammas. like now, seeing now,
Can it be learning about the word
learning about the
and the
words.
story, but not deep
Yeah.
and subtle
So
understanding?
very slight understanding. So even this we would call pariyatti.
But some would
usually.
say, oh, they are scholar in the Tipitaka, see? But in truth, it's not, because it's so dangerous.
Yes. It's dangerous, and it's not what we would call even true pariyatti, because it's with so much attachment. And the last kind, for example, the treasurer's Bandha Garika Pariyatti, usually we would say this is very deep, clear insight, but it's still referred to as pariyatti.
Arhata, because they understand all dhammas and keep it. He can tell the others about the truth and so on, like the treasurer.
Yes. So we can still refer to as pariyatti even when it's such
Because
deep understanding.
pariyatti is study, and they can be with understanding deeper or not just deep as it is.
So it's really more like a conventional use of study of different levels, different levels, from the very little but dangerous study to the understanding of the insight that's developing, to the arahats storekeeping.
That's why someone say, oh, he's good teacher about practices and so on.
It's dangerous for others too, because it leads others astray as well by clinging to the stories and the terms and the words, but actually no understanding of Dhamma at all.
And just checking the dictionary, the Buddhadatta dictionary, it gives for pariyatti, it gives the scriptures as the meaning. So as a noun, it also refers to the teachings in general.
Well, this is what is usually understood. People usually think that pariyatti is just conventional studying of the teachings, learning the words, learning the terms, like in the first case, but we always stress that pariyatti has to be more than just conventional words, that isn't true pariyatti, that pariyatti has to be understanding of dhammas right now appearing in daily
That's
life.
in the context of pariyatti padipati padiveda, then it has a specific meaning. Yeah.
So it seems like it's a slightly different meaning, so it's referring to the conventional ways of studying. That was the point. And the next, I'll just run with 2 or 3 of these passages. The next...
I just have a question. So why is the third kind like a treasurer? What's the reference there to the treasurer? The treasurer just...
Understanding what is what.
I
Not
see.
just stay there and talk about it.
Here it says in the commentary, the studying by one as an arahat has extinguished the taints, kinasava. For him there remains nothing unpenetrated, nothing unrelinquished, nothing undeveloped, nothing unrealized. So he is one who has penetrated the khandhas, who's relinquished the defilements, developed the path, realized fruition. Hence, in studying the Buddha's words, he studies it as a keeper of the scriptures, as a guardian of the tradition, as a preserver of the continuity. Thus, his study is like that of a treasurer or storekeeper.
Who guards the wealth and looks after the wealth that's been
Exactly,
gained.
the wealth of the scriptures of the
Right.
Dhamma.
Okay,
So when
thanks.
we take refuge in the Sangha, it is to the treasurers who have preserved the teachings and passed them down and made it possible for us to study, who have written the commentaries and so on.
Good, that's clear, thanks.
On the next text, which a friend asked about on DSG, I think it was Tam, it talks about the 5 factors that lead to the decay and disappearance of the true Dhamma. Here, bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, male lay followers, female lay followers, dwell without reverence and deference towards the teacher, the Buddha, dwell without reverence and deference towards the Dhamma, dwell without reverence and deference towards the Sangha, dwell without reverence and deference towards the training, and the 5th one, they dwell without reverence and deference towards concentration. And the question is about the last one. The commentary explains that the concentration refers to those that dwells without reverence for concentration when one does not attain the 8 attainments, utter samapati, or make any effort to attain them. Well, the 8 attainments refer to jhanas, so mundane jhanas. So why would not dwelling with reverence towards the jhanas be a condition for the disappearance of the Dhamma?
No understanding of. At moment of jhana, it's no understanding of the nature of reality. It just understand citta, which is calmer and calmer. At what degree? The first jhana with vitaka vichara, second jhana without vitaka and vichara.
So there is no respect paid for the attainments, but the attainments are not the understanding of reality. So why would not having respect or having attained jhanas lead to the decay of insight and understanding of dhammas?
One just talk about the development of jhana without any understanding. But the one who understands the path, that is the moment of letting go, no matter what is there. Jhana, what degree, it can be object of understanding instantly by conditions. That's why to be upekha parami, the last parami, very important, because it has to be understanding about the reality in order not to have akusala, lobha, or dosa.
So we usually always say it's unimportant what the object of understanding is. It makes no difference whether it's dosa or jhana. It's just a conditioned reality, and those who have developed understanding have no interest or wish to develop jhana. But here it seems to be suggesting that not attaining jhanas, not having true respect for mundane jhanas, leads to disappearance of the teachings, so it doesn't quite make sense.
So again, word by word, the first line.
So I just repeat the 5 factors that lead to the decay and disappearance of Dhamma,
What are
true
they?
Dhamma.
What are they, the 5?
1, not having respect for the teacher, the Buddha. Not having respect for the Dhamma. In other words, not understanding.
Moment, no thought about Buddha and
No.
Dhamma.
3, not having respect for the Sangha, the treasurers who conveyed the teachings. 4, not having respect for the training, the development of the path. But 5, not having respect for the mundane jhanas.
Because mundane jhana is only mundane jhana.
Maybe it means not understanding it as it is. Or
Because some may take it for the not mundane. That's why it has to be so very precise.
not having respect for it just as it is. Yes, it's a very subtle point.
The more understanding, the more it goes deeper and deeper and more subtle and more subtle. That's why Panya is beyond expectation, each level. It has to be, before letting go, no idea about to do this or to understand what is there by conditions only.
Because like in the Brahmajala Sutta, it talks about so many kinds of wrong view related to the attainment of mundane jhanas, taking them for nibbana, taking them for the end of the path, taking them for self, and so on. So there has to be the appreciation of them as high kusala, but not the path.
Yeah.
And otherwise, one clings to a fantasy about them. Okay, I just open this up for other people's comments and discussions. But any of...
So the opening words, or the words that precede the list, are not having respect and what?
The true Dhamma does not disappear all at once in the way a ship sinks. There are, Kassapa, 5 detrimental things that lead to the decay and disappearance of the true Dhamma. What are the 5?
Yeah, then the next words, not.
Here the bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, upasaka, upasika dwell without reverence and deference towards the teacher.
Reverence and deference towards the
Buddha, the Dhamma,
yeah,
the Sangha.
and concentration.
Training and concentration.
I don't see how reverence and deference could mean just seeing it as something that's not the path.
The true Dhamma does not disappear all at once.
Is that right?
Yes, in the way a ship sinks, it gradually gets lost when there's more and more wrong understanding. There are 5 detrimental things that lead to the decay and disappearance of the true Dhamma. What are the 5? Here, bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, upasika, upasika dwell without reverence and deference towards the teacher, the Buddha.
See, even that has to go together with every moment of the development of understanding. See, and what does it mean? Respect to the 3, because they are panya, so true.
Reverence and deference. Yes.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, no matter what.
It has, like we often say, it has to be with the understanding of the Buddha's qualities and the
So
true
understand
Dhamma
why
and
1, 2,
Yes.
3 and 4 Buddha,
It's
Sangha
not.
training.
and training. Yeah, but what
Yeah, but it's not just the word thought about. It's that very moment. Respect means what? Not different from the way Buddha taught and the truth. It has to go further and further, deeper and deeper. Even the word, it's not recite, it's not thought about, but it is the way understanding the object.
Wait. And you were just saying,
I was
but
just saying
1, 2,
that
3, 4, no problem.
reverence
but now
and
5.
deference towards the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, and the training is quite clear, but reverence and deference towards concentration, meaning the 8 samapati.
No matter what level,
Yeah.
even right now, at the moment we talk about the truth with respect to those
Why do we have reverence and deference towards
To be
mundane?
reminded, not go wrong. Because wrong understanding can be anytime, anywhere, any word. So very subtle. So now we talk about the truth, try to understand the truth because of respect.
So it sounds like we're saying reverence and deference towards wrong view.
No matter what. Otherwise, we just think about the word. But it's there already. If we don't use any word, like now, we don't have to say that we are respecting the three gems, but we are now.
I wonder if I can add something here. Uh, when people do concentration on their breath or something and they're developing jhana, there they there is a tendency to reflect, but of course they haven't learned the Dhamma. So, but the idea of the idea of the jhanas here might be uh, a, a condition for one of the conditions for developing the thinking about or reflecting on the Dhamma. So that may be what they're referring to. I'm not sure, but I know.
Could you elaborate on what you mean by that, Betty? The jhanas are a condition for reflecting on the teachings?
That when I remember years and years and years ago when I did so-called meditation, I do remember the one good thing it did was it did promote reflection. It did promote being aware more of what is going on inside your mind, and so forth. But without the Dhamma, of course, the reflection is not on the teachings itself. But I think that's maybe what they may be alluding to is that the concentration on the jhanas or whatever they're doing does somehow create conditions for inner reflection.
What way would concentration? What way would concentration without any understanding be a condition
That's right.
for understanding of Dhamma?
Right.
It's not a condition for understanding of Dhamma. And what people, like before in your practice, called development of samatha was not any development of samatha because it was like a concentration practice. So it's wrong understanding. So it's condition for wrong understanding, not condition for the right path.
Oh, absolutely. I would agree on that totally. But I'm saying it's just I'm not sure. I don't know this particular sutta. If you could give me a reference for it, or the name of the sutta and where it's found. But anyway, I'm just throwing out something I noticed years ago when I did study, do this many years before I came to see Tana John, that it does promote a kind of reflection of what's going on in your mind.
It was all the idea of I doing something, I following a practice, not any understanding of the truth.
Of course.
Okay, I'll put a reference up later in the notes when I have a moment. And another one.
Sorry, is that you moving to a new topic?
Well, unless you have anything to add.
Just a comment on what, if I heard you correctly, I thought you said that if one is developing insight, one's not interested in developing jhana. I don't think that's necessarily the case.
Okay, this is a good topic to bring up because before we have said that it's all by conditions. Some people, many people had attained jhana before and then they listened to the Buddha and they developed understanding. Some people listened, but because of previous accumulations, they developed together. And some people developed insight, but by conditions, developed samatha afterwards as well. Ajahn has been stressing a lot that when there is the development of insight, when there's the understanding of dhammas as anatta, it doesn't matter in the slightest what the object of insight is, whether it's seeing now, anger now, jhana, citta now. They're all equally impermanent and dukkha and anatta, and there has to be the letting go of whatever is conditioned. Ajahn, you also made a comment, I think, when we were in Vietnam, that when there is the development of understanding and insight, there are no more conditions for developing mundane samatha to jhana because of the understanding of dhammas as anatta. Perhaps you'd like to elaborate a little more. Because in that sutta we often refer to, I've just forgotten the name, and it mentions the different ways, insight with mundane samatha, 4 ways, development of samatha first, and insight first, and then development of samatha, and so on.
So we are talking about the understanding of what is there right now, because it's not yet getting close to what is there now, but different and many ideas about jhana and so on. No understanding of what is the object of that which arises and falls away can be known without understanding what is there now. So do you mind just thinking about jhana and on and on? It's not a firm confidence of the truth that the only way. See, just we have talked about a moment ago, no matter what is there now, the point of listening to the truth is just to understand what is there now, not that which has fallen away and that which hasn't come yet. Is that right? Otherwise, we keep on thinking about other things, not understanding the truth of what is there as seeing right now. So, no matter it's jhana or whatever, have the firm confidence of all dhammas are anatta.
The point, perhaps the point that Jonathan's bringing up and that we read in the text is that even though that when there is firm confidence, firm understanding in the truth, it depends on so many conditions and accumulations as to what arises. So for some it may be seeing, hearing, maybe breath, it may be jhana, citta. It just depends on accumulations and conditions, not on any expectation or wishing. So like it mentions in the sutta, there may be conditions for moments of mundane calm to develop, not because it's of any more importance, but just by conditions. Just like even if there is no clinging or no interest in breath, still by conditions it may be an object, or reflecting on death, who knows? Whatever arises is by conditions. So we cannot say that mundane calm, samatha, will not develop after developing insight, because whatever arises is anatta.
And that which is taken for mundane calm, it's the word. It is the word, yes. Just the word.
So it depends on the understanding whether it is true calm and what is the object that conditions the calm at that moment. And without understanding, it is just word, like even now.
The fact is that for most people nowadays, their idea of samatha and jhana is quite wrong. So once they come to understand what are the conditions for developing insight, there's no longer the motivation to think about developing jhana. But that hasn't always been the case. Obviously, in the Buddha's time, there were plenty of people who developed insight and samatha at the same time. So just as a general, as a statement of the Buddha's teaching, I thought it's not correct to say that the person who develops insight has no interest in developing samatha and jhana.
Even Monday calm is here or now or not. The understanding of the nature of mundane calm should be understood. Otherwise, when it's there by conditions, how can there be the understanding of that? As we have talked about Monday calm. That's why we learn about the truth of everything in life, even it's not there now, in order to understand when it's there, right then. Otherwise, how can be the understanding of what is there? For example, right now, no understanding of the truth of what is there, if there's no understanding about it before.
And a lot of people who think of the development of the path as being about developing more kusala and less akusala, which is really more a description of the development of samatha than of the development of insight. So it's good to get the two separated and understood correctly. But still, I think everyone's interested in the development of kusala in their life, whether they're developing insight as well or not.
So what reality is the core of the path?
The core of the path. The core of the path is the understanding that goes with insight.
See, understanding. So it does mean that right now, at moment of understanding, it's not the path. That's why each moment of understanding is the path. But those who have no understanding of the core, the truth of the path is understanding. They think that they have to try to read, to consider, to develop. But what about right now? At any moment of talking about seeing, there is seeing, and the truth of it is a reality. That is the beginning of the path. Who knows? But they take the path as something to be done. Study the three kinds, the first, the second, and the third.
I think probably what Ajahn was referring to when she mentioned before, when there is the understanding of realities, no development of mundane samatha and jhana, it actually meant no wish to develop, no trying to develop, no wrong understanding of thinking that it's the way, because we know whatever arises can arise by conditions and accumulations, but it's like if breath appears, it's by conditions, not because I think I should focus on breath, and same with any other object. Okay, the next sutta I'd like to bring up is one about, also from Anguttara 5s. Here a bhikkhu learns the Dhamma, discourses, mixed prose and verse, expositions, verses, inspired utterances, etc., etc. In other words, studies all parts of the Tipitaka, suttas, Abhidhamma, Vinaya. He passes the day in learning the Dhamma, but neglects seclusion and does not devote himself to internal serenity of mind. This is called a bhikkhu who is absorbed in learning, not one who dwells in the Dhamma. And the one, but neglects seclusion, here it is referring to Chitta Samadhi. Ceto Samatha, the first one, he neglects seclusion, and the commentary adds further, he pursues and develops mental concentration. This is the meaning it gives of Ceto Samadhi, develops mental concentration, intent on and devoted to a serenity meditation subject, Chitta Samadhi. So as we know, in the development of insight, calm is developed together, but here it's particularly referring to neglecting Ceto Samadhi, Chitta Samadhi. It seems to be referring to neglecting the development of mundane samatha. Do you have any comments about it?
We just talk about the reality, different degrees, different manners, different aspects. Now it's one aspect, that's all.
One aspect, one reality is calm, samatha. One reality, one aspect is samadhi. One kusala, metta is kusala, dana is kusala. Development of mundane samatha is kusala. So all kinds of kusala can be developed with understanding. But as you said before, there has to be confidence that it is the understanding of Dhamma that is important. But it says this: the monk who is absorbed in learning, just studying the text, not one who dwells in the Dhamma without the Chitta Samadhi. So here, referring to right concentration of the path or mundane jhana.
Just read, absorb.
Yeah.
But what about the understanding?
Right, has to be with understanding. It's just a little unusual that when referring to the understanding, it refers to neglecting seclusion. Well, we know that true seclusion is living alone with the Dhamma now, but for the seclusion it uses Ceto Samatha, well, calm of mind, but then the commentary adds that it refers to being intent on a object of a serenity meditation subject, and it mentions Chitta Samadhi. But can one say it's actually referring to the development of calm with understanding?
With or without?
From the context, isn't it clear that it's a follower of the Buddha we're talking about? Someone who's presumably developing insight, and this person is not developing internal serenity of mind. That is, other kinds of kusala other than insight. But the person who develops both insight and samatha to level of jhana is capable of higher attainment than the person who just develops insight.
This was quoted, of course, by a friend who wished to point out that Buddha encouraged everyone to develop mundane jhana. This is mundane samatha and jhana. This is the problem.
Well, he certainly didn't discourage people from developing all kinds of kusala. So
Only to those who is capable or ability.
yeah, for the jhana But for people who are not capable of attaining jhana, he still encouraged all other kinds of kusala in addition to insight. Dana, and sila, and samatha bhavana.
And for those who observe in the words, for example, citta is that which experiences an object, vijnana and so on, and mano and hataya, but no understanding of seeing.
I think this is what it's really pointing out, that if one just like the first kind of pariyatti study, if one just is absorbed in learning the words, the details, the terms, the meanings, but without any development of understanding with calm, then it just leads to more intellectual study, but no true understanding of what appears now.
Well, but then it does mention seclusion, doesn't it? So it's not quite, I don't think that explanation quite fits the context, really.
So the question is, because we know that when it mentions seclusion, viveka, it's referring to citta viveka is not the bodily seclusion, but the seclusion of the mind at moments of understanding. So here when it mentions ceto samatha, is it just referring to mundane samatha, or can it be referring to the seclusion, the citta viveka that develops with understanding?
I think it's referring to adhicitta sikha, the training in the higher mind.
Adi citta sikha, adi citta, whenever the adi is used, it's referring to development of understanding of dhammas. That's why it's
Right.
adi.
So
then it would be the calm, that adi citta refers to development of calm with understanding of the truth.
sure. And I think that's implicit in the description of the person in those cases, because it's someone who is studying the teachings but is not concerned with internal serenity of mind.
Is the calmness...
Sarah,
Okay, go ahead, Suki. No, Jan was just starting, but you go first, and then she'll go after you.
yeah. Sarah, do you think that it's fair to put it this way, that in the same way as us folks who are beginners in understanding of Dhamma, we are encouraged to develop all kinds of kusala, such as in daily life, metta and dana and all that. And in that way, those who are at that level of a understanding plus the understanding about they have some developed understanding in the samatha bhavana. For them, it's the same kind of advice that along with understanding, develop all kinds of kusala. So for them, it's jhana. So why not the highest kind of kusala, second to vipassana? So that's one thing. And but at no point would the Buddha think in terms of jhana leading to vipassana. And always, at all times, this vipassana is the top and the most important thing. But here we have people asking and coming from the standpoint of believing that jhana helps to the chance of vipassana growing, which is, I think, mistaken.
It's like you say, it must be referring to development of vipassana. But I think that it's just a question of whether here the Ceto samatha refers to mundane development of calm, but here it must be calm with insight, adi, citta. I think that's the point. Ajahn was about to speak, please. Ajahn.
I think that the point of listening to the truth, just to understand, right? For example, if Buddha didn't say anything about samatha or calmness, who knows what calmness is? So now, there is the understanding of what is calm. So, what for? To develop calm or to understand calm? Otherwise, there cannot be the moment of understanding, this moment of calmness at all.
So to understand calm penitence, the same way we are encouraged to understand whatever appears, not choose between this or that.
Otherwise, it's not the point of listening to the truth, not just to remember or to develop calm more and more, but to understand what is calm. The point of understanding calm is letting go the idea of ignorance and idea of self. So Buddha didn't teach to understand calm in order to develop calm. But for those who can, it's a kusala. It's a way of kusala. But it has to be understood that it cannot eradicate ignorance and the idea of self. Like now we're talking about calmness. What for? To understand it. To let go the moment of being calm as I.
Good. Does anyone else have any questions on any of these passages we've been discussing so far? Hung or Alberto? Go ahead, Sohan. Yin.
สวัสดีครับอาจารย์ I would like to ask what is samadhi chitta?
Two words we've been using. Samadhi is concentration,
Yes.
ekagata,
Yes.
cetasika. So there is concentration, ekagata, arising with every citta throughout life. And usually when the concentration is strong, the word samadhi is used. So there can be right samadhi and wrong samadhi, sama samadhi, such as the concentration which is developed with the path is sama samadhi, and miccha samadhi, the wrong concentration which is developed with the wrong path. So samadhi is always concentration, but usually when it's referred to, it is the strong concentration, such as in the development of the path. Samatha means calm. So at every moment of kusala, there is samatha, passaddhi, cetasika. So in the development of the path, calm develops, passaddhi develops, right samatha develops. So this calmness develops stronger and stronger, and it's a higher calm than the calm that develops in the mundane path that leads to jhana. This is also the development of calm from clinging to sense objects now. There is calm at those moments with understanding. Without understanding, no calm of any kind can develop. But it doesn't lead to the letting go of the idea of I. That's why the calm with the development of right understanding of the path is a higher kind of calm. So for those who appreciate the importance of developing the path, of understanding dhammas as anatta and of no consequence because they're anicca and dukkha, calm develops with the understanding, and there's less and less clinging, less and less interest in having any particular object appear, no matter whether the object is attachment or ignorance or seeing or hearing or jhana citta. They're all impermanent and dukkha and anatta. So calm develops with right understanding of the path, but it depends on habits and accumulations, what other kinds of kusala develop, because metta is kusala, dana is kusala, mundane jhana that leads to jhana, mundane samatha that leads to jhana is kusala. So any kinds of kusala can develop by accumulations, but not by wishing or wanting or thinking it's part of the path.
Samadhi citta. Where did you come across that reference?
I just, yes.
Sorry?
I just listen up there.
Oh, in that sutta?
Yes. So he write in
Samadhi
here.
citta. I didn't recall that.
It citta samadhi
Citta samadhi.
in the
Different from samadhi citta. There is no samadhi citta as such, but
If he says samadhi citta, we can understand what he means.
yeah, that's the problem. We don't understand now what you mean.
But according to the right word, to Pali, we have to follow the right word. Now we have two Dhamma friends from America. And okay, do you have anything to talk about? Because you're going back to America. Yeah.
This is my first time. This is my first time here. This is my husband. He started listening to Dhamma first before me. I just follow him along. I know very little, but I'm trying to understand what Ajahn is teaching, and I hope one day I can understand more and more each day, you know. But I don't have any question right now, but I'm just listening along with whatever you all are saying, and I appreciate everything you said. So I'm just listening along. Thank you.
So if you don't have a question, we can ask you a question.
You can ask me a question, but I don't know if I know the answer to that.
What is the purpose of studying the Dhamma, do you think?
For me, is to be understanding on the right path, not just kind of memorize it. I just want to understand it, so I can kind of have a knowledge that I won't forget. That's to me.
So what is to be understood?
That everything is, that's Dhamma is anatta. That's all I know.
And what is everything? Because if we say everything is anatta, but what is everything?
Everything in our life is kind of is the truth. It's Dhamma.
Can you give an example of everything in our life?
Like seeing.
Okay, seeing.
Seeing.
So seeing is a Dhamma.
Yes.
So yes, seeing is anatta. What else?
Seeing, listening, talking.
Then we're beginning to move away from seeing. So seeing right now is a Dhamma.
Yes.
And what does the seeing see now?
Seeing, right now I'm seeing whatever happening in front of me.
You said before everything is anatta and seeing is one Dhamma, but then you say I see. Is I see the understanding of Dhamma as anatta?
No.
No. Why not?
Because I doesn't exist.
Right. So if I doesn't exist, who or what sees?
Our mind, what Jitta sit, I don't know what's called.
A cheetah, but
A cheetah.
what kind of cheetah sees?
That I don't know.
The seeing cheetah. So the seeing
Seeing
cheetah
cheetah.
sees the object, not I.
Not me. Yes.
And when you said it sees, everything all around, but this is an idea. Just like when you talked about, listening, talking, these are ideas. What does the seeing cheetah actually see now?
It's just seeing what is in front of me.
Okay, what is in front of you?
Like I see a table, I see a chair, I
So-
see Ajahn, I see
Right.
everyone.
So usually this is what people refer to as everything. But when we study the Buddha's teachings, we have to learn what are dhammas, which are different from the ideas we have in everyday life. So seeing is a dhamma. It's not I, it's not something that sees, it's just the citta which sees. And what is seen is just a rupa, just a what is visible, what is colour, which is experienced now. Not a table, not a chair, not a person, just a rupa which is seen at this moment.
Just like seeing a color.
So,
Colour, yes, yes.
yes,
Not
yes, yes,
not
yes, yes.
everything, not a person, not a table, just colour, which is
So-
seen for a moment, and then afterwards thinking about the colour, thinking about the shape, the pattern, thinking about the table, and so on.
Thank you.
So that's what Sarah was trying to point out when you say everything. It's no matter where you're looking and what is being interpreted after seeing as in front of me is a table or person or this and that. Everything here means that it's all visible object. So everything is like visible object is part one of everything. Sound is one of everything. Hearing is one of everything. Not chairs and tables and people and things.
So, what is the difference between something like seeing and something like a table for this purpose, for the purpose of this discussion? Why is
That
seeing anatta in the Buddha's teaching, but table, he didn't say table is anatta?
John, this is to me the question.
No, not to you, Sukin.
Oh, okay.
Because table doesn't, it's just a word table to me.
Right.
Table, it has to be many things together
Absolutely right.
to form a table.
Yes. So that's why instead of saying everything is anatta, as you did in the beginning, it's every Dhamma, every conditioned Dhamma, or in English we use the term reality. Every conditioned reality is anatta. And seeing is one of those conditioned realities, but table is not.
Okay.
And you mentioned, after seeing, you mentioned listening and talking.
Yes.
Are listening and talking conditioned realities? Or are they one of those things that
You have to listen through the ear, but then you have to have what's it called? You have to have something that bounce to the ear to be able to understand.
right? So the when we talk about the ear door, the realities are hearing, not listening, and sound.
Yes.
Yeah, hearing, not listening though, and sound.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
How about you? You've been studying for some time. I think, is it your wife? Your wife
Yes.
mentioned, yes.
I'm more listening to Thai. English, I don't get the high word, or I'm Thai listener, more like that. Thank you.
There have been quite a few discussions about Kanti and Virya, and often we'd say, well, when we're talking about the paramis, the Kanti is Virya, but when it's stronger, when there's stronger understanding, then stronger patience, Kanti, and we talk about the Kanti Jnana and so on. Sometimes when we're talking about Kanti in daily life, you give an example of, for example, doing up one's shoelaces. It takes more patience than ordinary patience. In this example, it seems to be akusala virya that's being referred to. So can Kanti refer to akusala virya, like when doing up the shoelaces, no kusala involved?
It's just different degrees of Kanti or Virya.
Different degrees of virya, no matter kusala
Like-
or akusala.
Panjindriya and the last three. Panya.
In that case, of course, it's different degrees of panya as indriya, bala, and so on, but all referring to kusala. But here, kanti, because usually in the text, all the references to kanti, are like in the paramis or to wholesome kanti. I couldn't find any references to kanti when it's referring to any kind of virya that's strong, like doing up shoelaces.
What about Riya now arises with moment of stretching out one's hand, one's arm, see? There must be Virya. That's why we know how many chittas do not arise with Virya.
Yes, certainly we know that virya arises with almost every chitta, and so kanti is strong virya. So in any kind of, for example, if it was strong virya when a robber is robbing a bank, then even then it could be referred to as kanti when it's strong virya.
And what about Kanti, to let go?
This
The
is
idea
the
of
wholesome.
self.
This is the wholesome and
Right
the
now, from
kanti to be
seeing,
developed.
not only Virya.
I'd just like to ask about continuity for a minute, because I'm slightly confused about whether continuity is a fact of existence in samsara, or whether it's a kind of perception that is due to not understanding dhammas as they are.
Without reality, can there be conception?
Can there be?
Concept.
No. But I'm talking about continuity, Ajahn.
Yes, one moment, gone.
In the Visuddhimagga, it says that the characteristic of impermanence does not become apparent, because when rise and fall are not given attention, it is concealed by continuity.
Certainly.
Right. So continuity here is a misperception, or?
What about the continuation of one moment with another
Well,
moment?
that's, I think, probably another sense, another context of continuity, because jittas follow one after the other. There is continuity in the stream of jittas. That's one
Anantarapajya.
aspect of continuity. But here it talks about continuity and also about compactness, because it says the characteristic of not self does not become apparent, because when resolution into the various elements is not given attention, it is concealed by compactness. So obviously compactness and continuity in this context are
It does matter what word.
right. Well, my question arises because continuity did come up some recently, and I think we were talking at slightly cross purposes about what it meant.
So I think, John, what you're asking is that the word continuity and compactness in this context, is that a reference to misperception rather than the right perception or anything to do with the truth?
Yeah, that seems to be
So,
the case, but doesn't say it's wrong view, for example. So I'm not sure in what sense. But anyway, it is a kind of, obviously from the context, a kind of misperception. But as Ajahn said, continuity in particular comes up in other contexts also, which seems to be not a case of misperception, but a description of the
Anantarapachaya and
Yeah.
contiguity and all that. Yeah.
Isn't it the same santati, the arising and falling away of jittas so rapidly, and that's why they are misunderstood or taken as something lasting, because they arise and fall away so fast that there isn't any understanding of the nature of
I think
Dhamma as it is.
the speed of rise and fall is different from the continuity of one citta after the other.
If it does not arise and fall away, and arise and fall away, can that be the continuity?
I think, John, here in this context, it's also referring to suggesting that it's because of speed that this continuity seems to be how things are.
Well, I'm not sure about that, Sukin, because it doesn't mention speed. It just says when rise and fall are not given attention, it is concealed by continuity.
Just one lasts so long.
But does it mean, for example, that for the Arahat there is no compactness, no continuity?
Are you talking about citta, cetasika, and
I don't know,
viritta?
I'm asking you.
So no matter now or for the Arahat, each citta rises and falls away very rapidly, but it's not understood. So because of the rapid rising and falling away of one citta after another, it's taken for something lasting, a table or chair that's seen. But actually there is the seeing which falls away, many cittas arising and falling away, then many moments of thinking about colour, shape, form, all before there is the idea of something. But it happens so quickly. The continuity of different cittas is so fast that there is the taking of what is seen for something permanent, like a table or a person.
I think that's compactness.
The compactness, I think, is taken for someone, something, yes.
Well, that's
yes.
exactly what you were saying.
Whereas-
the table.
But
Yeah,
there
that's
isn't
compactness.
but there isn't the understanding of the visible object as a Dhamma that is impermanent, that rises and falls away, because the cittas arise and fall so fast. But it's the same, because when there is the idea of something, there isn't the understanding of the impermanence of those dhammas either.
But I think elsewhere continuity is a proper description of samsara, of the flow of jittas, for example.
And even here it is.
No, here it's a misperception.
It's the misperception of the continuity of dhammas, not understanding the impermanent nature of dhammas as they are.
Says the characteristic of impermanence does not become apparent, because when rise and fall are not given attention, it, that is the characteristic of impermanence, is concealed by continuity.
Or
Right.
maybe, John,
Absolutely.
that we know that even the Aryans don't have right understanding all the time. And this is part of the reason, because it's all, otherwise it's so fast. And, because it's so fast that it's not easy for Pandya to know the nature of anicca, dukkha, and anatta all the time.
Well, the Arhat has no misunderstanding about the characteristic of impermanence.
Yeah, no misunderstanding does not mean understanding all the time.
No, right. I'm not sure
Just
about-
started to say that it's now. So please carry on.
What you're
Ajahn.
talking about is just right now. The succession, the continuity. Dhamma, one Dhamma, another Dhamma, just one
And
Dhamma.
compactness, then?
What do you mean?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Well, it's not compactness of dhammas, is it?
Because there must be Cetasika, Phassa Cetasika, and so on.
Right, thanks.
Because so many dhammas arise together, citta and cetasikas, so that's why that is the truth, but there is no understanding of just one reality, passa or sanya now, because so many cetasikas arise together as a group. So there's misunderstanding again, taken for something all the time.
Compact at all.
When I hear compactness, I think of something like almost squeezed together, to the point where things are not distinguishable. Continuity is one following another in a certain pattern, maybe even expected pattern. So I don't know where that gets us, but I don't see them as the same thing, and yet I think they produce the same result.
Can we say
Which is
that?
Yeah, I think, and it's not the same thing, because compactness is, referred to in reference to anatta, the understanding of anatta, and continuity is referred to in terms of the understanding of anicca. So they are the
Go ahead, Ajahn. Quite often she starts speaking, and when you
When
don't
we use the term compact, there is just only one or many?
a kalapa, a group of cetasikas arising together. And because it's all together arising and falling so fast, it's taken for something like I see, but actually citta with several cetasikas arising together, experiencing the visible object. But because they arise together, it's taken as I or someone that sees. Just as the cittas arise and fall away so quickly, they're not understood as they are, as just dhammas which arise and fall away, taken for something.
Even just one moment of citta, can we say it's compact?
Chan, that's something new. You know, I would, if the earlier question you asked, is it one or many? My answer was many. But now you're talking about one chitta, compact. That's something I've never heard, never considered.
One citta with many cetasikas together, one group, one kalapa together.
Did that make sense? In conventional English, compact can certainly be used for one thing, I guess. Think of compact car with all the parts that are in there.
I was
It's still
thinking of
considered
dry packed food, a bundle of food that's been
Yeah.
compressed into a tight bundle, and so you have no idea what the ingredients are.
Hmm.
So, Sarah, here we're talking about the problem of someone with very high level of understanding, who understands that there's only ever one moment of chitta which appears and it's a Dhamma. And yet he doesn't understand that at that moment, not just one Dhamma is present, but many other Dhammas together.
I don't think we're talking about someone with very high level of understanding. I think we're talking about right now, because the citta arises together with many cetasikas together, it's taken for being something or someone that experiences, that sees, that hears, and so on. So the truth is that actually it's one citta that sees accompanied by many cetasikas, but because of no understanding, it seems as I, something that sees, something that is seen, a whole. So the characteristic of anatta is covered up by ignorance because the dhammas are so deep and subtle, not easy to understand. So quickly it's I or something all the time. This is what is meant by because of the compact nature, because of the way that dhammas arise together, experience the object, fall away instantly. Because for the one with high understanding, no doubt, no question about the dhammas as anatta. But when there's not the understanding of what dhammas are, when they are mixed up with ideas and concepts all the time, then the truth is covered up, hidden up, like now.
So back to the first kind of the way of the studying Dhamma, is harmful if the understanding is not deep enough. It's harmful because of the no understanding or is wrong understanding, right? Not the understanding it right itself, because understanding is helpful, is beneficial. But if the right understanding is not enough or deep enough, so it may condition to the wrong practice. Is it right, Ajahn?
Well, I'm not sure we can say that right understanding can condition wrong practice. So it would be better to say if the right understanding is not sufficiently developed, then wrong view can arise and condition wrong practice.
When, for example, reading the text, it's read with wrong understanding that there are people who behave in this way and do this and who see and hear and touch tables and so on, which we can say conventionally if the texts are all read in the wrong way, like grabbing the snake in the wrong way. It's very dangerous. So it's study, but it's not the right study, and that's why it's dangerous. So it's actually, it seems by appearance to be right knowledge, right understanding, and the followers may be impressed because one may read and use many Pali terms and be able to say what all the processes of citas are and how many rupas there are and give all the details. But if there's no understanding of Dhamma now, what is true now, it's actually grabbing the snake in the wrong way, and it's the wrong path. So what determines whether it's the right path or the wrong path is not the outer appearance, it's not how calm someone looks, it's not how much of the texts have been studied, it's not how great the Pali knowledge is, it's whether there is understanding at this very moment of what appears.
It reminds me about I listened to the Dhamma discussion yesterday with Thanachan asked Kunmo, the doctor, about what kind of level of your understanding now is pariyatti or patipatti. So if we have an understanding, so we can answer the question. And if we don't know what the level of right understanding is pariyatti or patipatti, so we cannot answer the question. So it's if even we remember the word, so it's even not the pariyatti level, right, Tachan?
That's why there must be 3 levels of studying. Pariyatti, not just study the word, the meaning, but to understand the truth. Otherwise, there cannot be the second and the third. But it is the moment of beginning to hear about Nama, Rupa. There is the understanding at that level, but not more details and the wrong understanding from that level up to understand a little more. For example, Samadhi is understood as it's only the nature of that which understand. What level that person can understand. Nama is no one, and it's moment of seeing and hearing and so on, but not careful enough about the Dhamma, which is anatta. No matter seeing, is Dhamma, anatta. So they take the word practice, wrong understanding. So it doesn't mean that there's no understanding at all, but not careful. That's why there is the snake.
Like in Vietnam, on the board, we have the 4 factors of becoming Sotapanna, and the last one, Dhamma, Patipata. Everyone misunderstands and they talk about practice. And so after hearing and listening and considering carefully, and then they think there has to be putting into practice, following a practice. But of course it doesn't mean this, because it's referring to the direct, developed understanding of Dhammas according to the Dhamma taught by the Buddha.
Even the word, don't be in what do you say, dwell in the past or about the future. See, even that, how careful it has to be, that it has to be right now, the reality which arise and appear, not the past, not the future.
People misunderstand to think that they somehow should stop any thoughts about the past or the future. But if there are conditions for thinking right now about the past, it's conditioned already. But there can be understanding that it's just thinking. Or if there's thinking now about what I will eat for lunch or what I will do this afternoon, the thinking is conditioned. The thinking is Dhamma, but the idea is an idea. But there can be understanding here and now that the thinking is conditioned. It's anatta, not my thinking, not arising by my choice. So it's not a matter of stopping the thinking, but understanding that it is the understanding of the present reality. Thinking is just a Dhamma, no matter what it thinks about, that is important. So every word gets misunderstood.
Or compact. See? Any word can be reminded.
So I think we can pause now, and we'll be continuing this afternoon at 1:30. So thanks for joining those at home, and join us again this afternoon if you're free. Good to see you there, Zita and Alberto and
See you
Tam
this
and Tan.
afternoon.
Yes, see you this afternoon. And Anne, if you're still awake.
Papa Shan.
Alberto just.